And we are live. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to our Writers Chat podcast here on Banff. Here with regular co-hosts / guests, Walt Billiard. Hey, Walt.
Hola.
Walt Like Yellow is his tag for today. And over here in the Brady Bunch grid is Mr. Ryan M. Danks out of Nevada. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. So I don't have a link for Walt's novels yet, so let's start off with...
I just put it in there.
Put in the chat. Okay, then let's start off with this. Our very own Walt Billiard is launching a trilogy of novels. And let's share that up here. If you guys follow the podcast, we've been talking about writing and whatnot for 6-8 months now. And this is, Walt has these 3 books coming out on June 15th on Kindle. And oh my God, you can pre-order them for 99 cents. That's not even a cup of coffee, Walt. How can you afford to do this?
Well, that's all going through Athon Books, who is the publisher. Mm-hmm. They have been phenomenal. They make a small-time writers feel like 100 feet tall. Mm-hmm. So huge thanks to Stephen Rett over at Athon for taking a look at it and then pushing it forward. They've been fantastic. So yeah, really pleased with how things are working out.
The art is gorgeous.
There is a huge story behind that art that I will share with you offline.
Okay.
It involved somebody pretty famous, and almost got me sued.
Oh my God!
That seems to happen to Walt way more often than you would think it would.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so if you want, I can try and share a better image of the cover.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
But
so the whole trilogy's launching all at once.
Nope, they're going to release one in Sunokin. What's up, man? If you don't know, you are my spirit animal. Sunokin is one of the guys that sometimes plays on the Sci-Fi Writers Playing Old School D&D podcast with us on Fridays. They're doing really good things in their own channel. So it's going to go June 15th is the launch for the book, and then one midsummer, and then one at the end of the summer. They're launching audio at the same time.
Oh, because I was looking for the Audible stuff.
It's on there. Just click the Audible link, and it'll bring you to a link where you can pre-order.
Okay. Yeah, because both John Gibbons and I were talking about, I'd really like to get that in Audible. Oh, there it is. Right-hand corner.
There it is.
Audiobook credit. All
so
right,
since
cool.
we talk about writing here, I'm curious, and also personally curious, how long from when you began writing to June 15th?
Well,
you have a really ugly link for your Amazon page, Walt. Sorry.
I can, yeah, I'll eventually get to it.
Okay.
It's not my it's not my priority right now. My priority is getting eventually enough sleep so that I can act and conduct myself like a human. So the books were originally written in 2018. The entire trilogy was written then. And as I've gone on a couple of interviews now, the big thing was that it was kind of like a stopgap for my skull to keep me from becoming homicidal because my mom was in hospice at the time. So I kind of needed something that I was doing while I was sitting with her and while we were all trying not to go crazy. So I wrote this series of novels based off some RPG stuff I was doing, and it sat for a little while because I really didn't have the skill set and the knowledge to kind of put things together like I do now. So I went through Keystroke Medium and started talking to those guys, and they were instrumental in helping me learn a lot. The 20 books to 50K conference had a lot of interesting seminars and stuff like that they were doing in Las Vegas every year, but they were live streaming them. So you didn't have to be there. You could just watch these seminars for free.
I watched a couple, yeah.
Yeah, so then I started talking to other authors, especially other indie authors, because I wasn't sure I was going to go through a publisher. And then at one point, some of the Keystroke guys said, "Hey, Stephen Rett over at Athon are looking to beef up their presence in the military sci-fi market, and my books have that kind of a vibe to them." So I was like, "Hey, what do you require to look at? Do you need the entire manuscript, or do you need something like the first chapter or first 50 pages?" And they said, "Send us the first 50, and they liked what they saw, and they checked the box, and we started talking, and then after that you got the various things that you have to do when you're working with a publisher, establishing rights, licensing, who has control of what, so forth and so on. One of the big things that kind of we had to work through was that Hunter's Moon was already an established brand. So it was one of those things where it was also one of those things where we had to kind of work on the look of things so that we wouldn't confuse people who were looking for stuff, wouldn't confuse the RPG stuff with the novel stuff. So you'll notice that the brand logo for the novels looks slightly different than the brand logo for the RPG stuff that's associated. And that was kind of done on purpose. That way, in the initial stages, when people are looking for Hunter's Moon, they're not going to go, "Oh, well, here it is. Well, this isn't a freaking novel. What the hell is Drive-Thru RPG?"
Right. Yeah.
And eventually, the logos will be altered and then catch up and stuff like that. But it just, in the beginning, we wanted, 6 degrees of separation, just so that people, when they were looking for something, they knew what they were looking for. They knew they were looking for the Hunter's Moon kind of stuff, and then they could work from there.
Nice. So what about like when you started talking with Atheon? How long ago was that?
That was about a year, just because of not really on them. It was more on me.
Okay. But a year is actually pretty good for a development period.
Yeah.
Especially for 3 books.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the big things was originally when it was written just for eye holes and not ear holes. So people reading the book would get a different experience than somebody looking at it, because the what do you call it? And also, Mike, here's a better look at the cover from a bigger look.
Look at that art.
Oh my gosh.
That guy looks nothing like Keanu Reeves.
It wasn't Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
That's gorgeous, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
That is, congrats. That's badass.
Yeah, the artist did an amazing job. So, but yeah, one of the things that in the beginning that was one of our kind of like our slowdowns was the 3 books were written. They were completely done. But they, Rhett and Steve were like, hey, one of the things we like to do is we like to release audio at the same time as digital and print. So a lot of these chapters are very short. And the idea was the pacing of the novels would be constantly shifting scenes because of a shifting perspective. So I was like, well, let me dig in there. So I dove back into the book and grabbed like chapters from same perspectives and put those together to make slightly longer chapters, which I guess from what I understand flows better in audio.
I can see that, yeah.
So that way you're not constantly, and chapter 13, chapter 14, because chapter 13 was only 200 words, that kind of deal. So
I wonder if, because that's the way that James Patterson, his books are 500 to 700 word chapters, very choppy. I've never listened to an audiobook, though. I don't know if they put it together different.
So from what Steve and Red have said, when you got chapters flowing that fast, it's kind of jarring on audio.
Yeah, I'm listening to one right now. I take my kid to summer camp, and the drive there and back, it's an hour. And I'm listening to a sci-fi book right now. It's an author we've had on before, but I won't mention his name. It's a good book, but like, hey, we're in a space battle, and now remember that guy in chapter 3 who was a scum rat in a sci-fi ghetto somewhere? Let's see what he's doing. And it kind of works when you're reading because it's, but as an audiobook, it's a little annoying because you just get into the groove of one narrative, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're somewhere else.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
hey, Mr. Vera, thanks for joining, sir. Always glad to have you.
Thank you. Yeah. And everybody wants to know about hey, Sparky, what's going on, Rob? Everybody wants to know about the murder dog, and I can't give any details right now because the whole thing is it's part of the story, and I don't want to ruin it for people.
That alone makes me want to read that. Just little part of it, all of it. That whole cover is just awesome. But
thank you.
That dog is so interesting.
So the great thing is I have a couple of beta readers, and one of the guys is a former Army dude, and he's very angry, and he's very upfront about his stuff, and he calls me up one day on my way to work, and he's like, because he does the same thing I do when he listens to a manuscript. Excuse me, allergies. When he listens to a manuscript, he'll put it on his phone and let the phone read it to him. So
Forgot about that trick. Thank you. I needed that this week.
Yeah, it really helps. So he calls me up. He's like, dude, I'm in the middle of Walmart and I had to join you guys. Yes. Send pictures, Sparky. Send pictures. So my beta reader guy calls me up and he's like, dude, I got to tell you, man, I almost just got into the most crazy car accident. I'm like, okay, what happened? He goes, you know, the middle scene where, you know, like homeboys are, you know, doing their thing and they're in that mesa kind of space and they're like, there's a battle going on and all of a sudden floodlights. And I was like, yeah, that part. He goes, dude, I was laughing so hard. I snorted coffee out of my nose and I like had to jam on the brakes at a stoplight. I almost went through it. So yeah, he's so far for the beta readers, he's been a fan favorite. Nice. So Mike, if you want, I have another screenshot where you can see all three covers up.
Perfect.
Ooh.
So yeah, book 1 is the Mongrel, book 2 is the Revenant, and book 3 is the Sentinel.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I have a book I'm working on called Sentinel. Galactic Sentinel.
Yeah, it should read the Sentinel. It's being fixed. So,
okay.
But yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to write these, and we have right now. If people are listening, let me get the link real quick. So we have a prequel. A prequel story that was read by Kayleen Williams of Keystroke Medium.
Oh, she's cool.
Yeah, she's really cool.
Yeah.
She does on Mondays. She does the first chapter reads. So if you got an upcoming book that you want her to read the first chapter of live on the air, she does that on Mondays, usually at like right around 4:30. So, Mike, if you want to put up that link, people who want a kind of like a preview of what the universe is like, they can go to hazardstudio.net/hunters-moon-lioness and get the audiobook short story that kind of precedes everything that goes on.
I love every single word that you've used to describe Mongrel, Revenant, Sentinel, Hunter's Moon, Lioness. Like it just speaks to a really cool setting that doesn't normally go with sci-fi. That I think is going to be sounds like it's going to be really cool.
Thanks, Sparky, man. Yeah, Sparky's got an art copy, so he's one of the guys looking at the book for us. Yeah, it was a conscious choice because of the setting. And if you've read the RPG material, the setting behind it is there is a section of space that is very corporate. The governments are kind of like puppets of the big corporations. So what a lot of people
sounds familiar.
I don't know anywhere where that could be occurring. So a lot of people venture into the frontier past the outer boundary of the Core Worlds Alliance, also called Coral for short. So people leave the Coral and they go past the outer boundary into the frontier for all these colonies, because even though there's no law, you're totally free. You get to do what you want. But if you do have a problem, there is a colony of kind of like almost like Templar Knights. And the Marshals Templar originally started as a protectorate as a protection service for religious pilgrims looking to colonize different worlds. They eventually get roped into kind of like acting as like wandering lawmen. But because these colonies start, getting corporate support behind them, problems get bigger and bigger. So to escalate and help them, they create an entire military force called the Lancers. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that. And as you start the book, the guy on the right with the rifle, he is a kind of like a marshal in training when his teacher is killed, and the story is about him abandoning that life and going the complete opposite way in order to draw the Lancers and the Marshals into the investigation because he doesn't have the resources himself to do it. And it's if I had to give a tagline for it, what happens when you mix the Clone Wars with John Wick?
Dope, dude.
Yeah.
And
So
I love the concept of Templars in space.
yeah, the Marshals Templar are really, really cool. And you get to kind of see, you don't really get to see too much of them in the first book. You see them like jump in and out because they're the ones investigating, the main character.
The setting.
They definitely inform the setting, and their presence is felt throughout the whole book. But you get a better sense of like what they're like when they're operating on their own when you catch out that short story. I know I finished a whole book, like
3 of them.
Yes, Jake Clifton Slater. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. So yeah, it was a fun story to write. When these covers came out, man, I was blown away. Athon Books did a great job of setting these up. I've already got questions about when people see the third book, like, dude, do you have Space Spartans? Because I totally think that like Space Spartans should be a thing. Because you got that guy in the corner. So yeah,
it's hard to see that. Is it like a medieval character or is it like robotic?
Nah, he's messed up.
Okay.
Cyborg. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He is Leonidas of Borg.
Yeah. So it was a fun series to write. Really great collaboration between Athon Books so far. So we did some spin-off stories with Mike Lafferty coming up.
We are so close. I just got to get the adventure done for issue 4, and then we'll launch Blaster Bolts, which has 2 stories in issue 1 and 2 that tie into the Hunter's Moon universe. Nice. I should probably do that soon now that Walt is launching his novel series. Ride his illustrious coattails to fortune and fame.
That's what I did for Fate Core.
Yeah. Right on. So yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, Jupiter's Legacy was just canceled on Netflix, Walt, so there's probably a slot in their schedule.
I'm willing to talk.
Okay.
I heard that Jupiter's Legacy wasn't bad, but it wasn't good enough on the trailer for me to look at it.
I kind of felt the same way. I heard mixed reviews, a few positive, and it's weird at Netflix where I guess they get the numbers back after 2 weeks and they do thumbs up or thumbs down. So
they want something that binges.
Yeah, it needs to get some buzz, I think. So it's a bummer, but I mean, Mark Miller has like a million other projects even on Netflix. Anyway, not to talk about Mr. Miller and not Mr. Robillard, but
all good.
Congrats, Walt. I know this has been a long time. We've been talking about this for 3 years now.
Yeah, it's been a work in progress, but it's been super fun. The people I've met along the way, some amazing authors who've been absolutely instrumental. Guys like Sparky and Sinokin, who were really great to read the book, check things out, kind of point things toward my direction. My alpha readers and beta readers have been fantastic. So yeah, and big thanks to Athon Books for sending this forward. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, cool.
Congratulations.
So this is the point in the interview where someone says, "So what's next?"
How about for me?
Yeah.
Right now I'm doing a lot of ghostwriting. So there's a lot of stuff out there that has my pen in it, but not my name on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is nice because it pays the bills, and I really don't care as long as I get paid. But yeah, so I have a cyberpunk thing I'm working on. That should be probably November. I recently did some writing with somebody I can't really mention yet, but they want to work a project together, so we're going to start putting that together. And then more Hunter's Moon if people like it.
All right, cool.
Nice.
We've got the Blaster Bolts version of that, so yeah, definitely more.
Yeah, those are a lot of fun to write, but man, that restriction hurt. It's like, yeah, I want you to write a blah 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 blah, 4,000 words. I'm like, wait, you want me to write half a chapter?
Yeah. Well, I'm going for that short fiction niche. It keeps the budget down too. So there's a hey. Speaking of short fiction, you guys heard about this Kindle Vella thing, right?
We have.
I'm already moving on it.
Okay. Well, do you want to explain to our readers if they haven't heard about this?
Sure.
Okay.
So Kindle Vella is their third attempt at doing serial fiction. They had something before. I don't think it was Kindle Worlds. I think it was something else. Kindle Worlds was where you got to borrow from someone else's IP.
Yeah.
But they're trying to mirror Wattpad, but doing a paid version. Episodes can be anywhere from 600 words to 5,000 words. And the first 3 are always free, so someone could buy into the story. And then after that, you buy tokens, kind of like credits for Audible, but they're way cheaper. Mm-hmm. And you buy hundreds at a time, and then a token. I don't remember how it worked out with the price, but it's something like every 100 words is a token or something of that nature. I don't remember the exact breakdown. But
yeah, the token thing weirded me out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm incredibly excited for it because I think in comic book, like that's how I learned to read. I was not interested in reading until I discovered comics. And so everything in my brain is serial. Even if I'm thinking about building a novel, it's always this happens, then this, and I always think of it in little arcs. So I personally am super excited, and I hope this doesn't just go away. I've seen a lot of YouTube channels where they talk about how it won't go away because Wattpad is kind of social proof, even though you don't pay for it. So I think that I'm excited. And the art, I already got some art done for mine.
And can we see it?
Oh yeah. I'll have to find it for you in a second. But I have a story called Myth Touched that I'm launching for it. And I'm super excited. I'll send you the art.
You gotta hook us up with a link when that goes live so that we can check it out.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kindle Vella, nothing's live yet because they say, oh, it's going to launch in a few months. And what they mean by that is once we get enough material to actually have a market for it, then we'll launch it.
So it could be 2021, could be 2022, could be. Hey, I've got that screenshot you sent us in an email. Is it cool if I share that?
Oh, did I? Oh, yeah.
Okay,
that shows it.
Let me, boom, there we go.
My computer updated last night, so that'll take forever anyway. Yeah, so that's the story I'm launching. I'm going to rewrite episode 1 because it was basically just an origin vomit. Mm-hmm. And I want to make it a little better. But I've been studying like the old masters, Lester Dent, those guys who did the pulps and working on that stuff. Because 5,000 words, it's not a lot.
It's a chapter.
Lester Dent had a pulp story formula I've been trying to follow in my writing. Yeah.
That's what I've been reading.
Yeah, just keep it short and, well, you're familiar with it. So how short do your episodes have to be for Vella?
600 words is the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
5,000 words is the maximum.
Okay.
But the thing is, you can't just, I think a failing concept, and I think this is why the last attempt failed at doing the serials, is that people just take their novel and release a chapter as episodes. Yeah. But that's boring because some chapters are boring. They're get to the next one.
Yeah.
And it's got to be more like writing a Batman cartoon. Every single cartoon is a full arc, and that's going to be the challenge. But at the beginning of every Jade Punk episode, I wrote a full arc of a story in 180 words. So it can be done.
Minimalism, cool. I dig it. All right, well, I'm going to be looking into this too because I love writing short, and also I don't have a lot of time, so that's.
Yeah, my goal. I think I'm going to push. It depends on how long the chapters are, but I think I'm going to push for like a twice a week release. But if I'm getting them shorter, probably 3 times. But I'm excited. I actually have 2. Myth Touched is one, and then I'm working on the title and the other. I talk about it in my newsletter behind the line, between the lines.
Oh.
But
your Substack.
One, I'm gonna do like I think I'm gonna call it From the Front, and it's gonna be this woman war correspondent in a steampunk like world who goes to the front and she's just like writing her article every month for a fictional newspaper, and it's going to be every episode is going to be her article, her weekly article in her column.
That's dope.
That's my plan for it. Yeah, I think that would be fun to play with the format for it.
Okay, yeah, it seems like it'd be ideal for that kind of capsule writing. So,
Yeah.
So you have a Substack now. We should tell people about.
Oh, so does Walt. We should talk about that.
Yeah.
I have a. Oh, that's a good idea. Actually, I haven't considered it for RPG Adventures. So when I was working on Kindle Vella, I finally figured out my newsletter. My newsletter's floundered. We've had Ron sees it. He's on here all the time. He was in my newsletter when I first launched it years ago, and I just keep like, I never knew what to do on newsletters. So now I figured it out. A newsletter should be like a blog post with your thoughts, and then the Substack allows me to also sell my fiction with it. So if you want to get the fiction, that's a paid subscription, and I'll release fiction every week. Mm-hmm. But if you want to just get into how my insights on pop culture and all the different stuff that I'm working on, and just everything that I'm thinking about, typical newsletter stuff, that's free.
Okay, cool.
But I'm really enjoying the concept. Like the article I'm going to write next week for free is going to be on the living force as a philosophy for life. I just dig it.
Cool. I can see that. Yeah, I remember hearing that there are folks in Australia who got that basic idea recognized as a organized religion.
Oh, okay. I'm not going there.
Okay.
That's a little too far. I'm thinking more like just not plan. I tend to overplan for the future. Mm-hmm. So this is more like live in the moment.
Okay, gotcha.
That kind of a thing.
Gotcha. No bathrobes or laser swords involved. I gotcha. Okay.
No. Yeah. It's just a little idea. I write a lot of Medium articles, and Medium likes tech and business, and they don't like philosophy and psychology and pop culture. So between the lines is someplace I can explore that.
I could see that. So you're going to be selling fiction. Is this the same fiction you're doing for Vella, or just a separate line?
Nope. This is 100% exclusive. It's not. I'm not going to put it up anywhere else. I already put one up right now. That's Sin Eater. That is exactly what it sounds like. It's a priest who can literally suck the sin out of people, but he can put it into someone else and overwhelm them and kill them. And
that's kind of a cool concept.
Sounded like Father Bucci when I was coming up.
Yeah, a little bit. I had the idea from like Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
So his penance there. So I was messing with that, and I don't know where to take it. It's a cool short story as it stands. So I put it up as my first story. Next week I have another short story coming up, and and so I'm just all the fiction though that I put on there is all going to be exclusive. I'm not going to release it anywhere else because I am getting paid for it through between the lines. So I'm not going to double dip. That's the place to get it. And you can sign in and look at back issues. It's not like you only get it as it comes out.
Okay, cool. So check that out. We'll have it in the show notes once we get the episodes up on YouTube. Walt, do you want to talk about the Hazard Studios Substack as well?
I would love to. So it's Hazard Inc. .substack.com. We've only got one article up so far, just because life. But same thing. Just a nice way to do a newsletter because audio is integrated, so you can podcast through Substack if you want. You can do you can post videos and blah 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 without having to YouTube link and so forth and so on. So it's one-stop shopping. I know some people get turned off when they have to click like 9 links just to see what your content is, and that's no fun. So we put it all in one space. All the people from my previous newsletter were kind of keyed on over, so that they made that very, very easy. And it, like I said, I'd rather have one-stop shopping than having people having to navigate through a host of different IPs like YouTube and FaceBase and blah 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 blah. It can just all go right through there, and it'll be very, very easy.
Okay, and are you guys talking about? You're in a lot of worlds now. You're in the RPG world. You're in the writing world. What's the focus of this one going to be?
Same thing, RPG and writing, and just kind of like following along what we're doing. Like I'm going to do I'm going to do a thing about the models we just released today through Galaxy's Edge, and different there's been a lot of lately because of us working with Nick Cole on his sci-fi writers playing old school D&D. There's been a lot of requests for me to do like GM advice. Which I'm like, man, I'm just winging this shit. So they're like, but some of the responses were, well, can you tell us how to wing it? I'm like, sure.
Well, I mean, because there's a lot of GM advice articles that sound like it's coming from a guy in a big chair, a little DS who wants to, lecture you. And I think that playing off your cuff is probably a style that works better for a lot of people.
Yeah, not only that, but I mean, the advice I most often give is like, hey, just watch something you enjoy and then shamelessly rip it off, file the serial numbers off, and throw it in your game. I mean, we did we did a benefit game on Veterans Day last year, where I ripped off Raiders of the Lost Ark, and
it's a great movie.
People loved it. They tons of email. We got a lot of donations to Mission 22, which veteran suicide is a huge problem in the country. So I mean, having something, the ability to support something like that was huge. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. But once again, I stole it from a 40-year-old movie.
Don't say it can't be. That just came out 5 years ago. I don't know what you're talking about with that.
We're old, bro. We're old.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm 49 in about 4 days. So
I vaguely remember 49.
I'm 39. So
God damn you. No baby face. Good Lord.
I'm almost to my midlife crisis.
Yeah, I'm trying to plan mine out. I got to lose some weight first before I can date the 18-year-old, but I'm working on it.
Are you going to get that bikini bod this year?
I'm on a very restrictive keto diet right now. I had 1,200 calories yesterday. So
you poor bastard. That's
I didn't yell at anybody, so I think that's a win. Lunch was a kale and lettuce smoothie. So
why would you do that to your poor self?
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. So, and Jason says there are no original stories, which that's a fair point, actually.
It's true.
100%.
So,
everybody's just ripping off Beowulf.
Yeah. And I rip off Batman cartoons that ripped off Beowulf.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
It's they're bringing that back on HBO Max. They got the band back together for new Batman cartoons. I think the guys from animated series are going to be involved.
Oh, nice. My favorite, though, it's contentious, is the one that was just called The Batman, where Bane was the big red dude.
Yeah.
When he was transformed, and when he wasn't, he was in this weird S&M leather outfit. But that was my favorite series ever.
Thanks for the sympathy, Sean. I appreciate it. Yeah, I heard good things about that. That was the one where Alfred had a more active role, right?
Oh, Alfred was amazing. The whole series was, they went all 5 seasons, told a complete arc, and in season 1 he was alone, and then he met Robin in season 2, and then he met Batgirl, and then he got with the Justice League. Might have been season 3 with Robin, but anyway, it was like full. Like if you watch all 5 seasons, I bought them all on DVD. I loved it so much. But it's a full, like Batman's full story, all encompassed. I mean, obviously not. There's weird stories out there, but the full, like, to joining the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the greatest origin for Alfred I've ever seen was on the TV show Gotham.
Oh, dope.
He was an SAS operator, and I'm like, that would be so cool. Like young Bruce Wayne growing up and like trying his Batman vibe for the first time, and it's secretly Alfred doing all the stuff behind the scenes, kind of like that dog in Inspector Gadget.
Right? When he gives Bruce the watch and has him beat the dude and says, and then Alfred says, "Just remember, I let him do it." I was like, "Oh yes."
Hey, thanks, Jacob. Awesome.
And Jacob, I know we were talking earlier, but it is going to be out on Audible at the same time, so you can listen while you draw.
Absolutely. Yep. Listen to the murder dog.
That will be the name of Walt's autobiography coming out next year.
Yep.
Narrated by Stephen Lang.
Oh my God. Yeah. Stephen Lang actually did the Savage Wars trilogy for Galaxy's Edge. And oh my God, just amazing having him narrate that like real gritty military science fiction. That was dope.
Yeah, I think he was a better option than Gilbert Godfrey. I know he was the budget option, but I think paying for the extra for Lang was probably appropriate.
Yeah, or Dan Houser. Dan Houser was on the table for a while.
I think you and I are the only people who know what that is on this podcast.
Autodog, a cybernetic werewolf. Let's write this story. Jacob, hit me up. Let's do this.
I think we could get that made on Sci-Fi Network in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
That would look really cool. Yeah, like normal dude, and then the wires start coming through,
and then we can. Hey, John Evans. Oh, John's such good people. What's going on, man? The main story they should have used for the film. Right on.
Nightfall was far, far, far superior.
Josh Hayes, my boss over at Keystroke Medium, who's probably yelling at me for doing this podcast instead of Coffee and Concepts.
Hey, Josh. Yeah, I actually talked to Denny O'Neil, back when he was still alive, and one of the things he was really psyched about in his career was the chance to write Nightfall, and looking back at everything else he'd done, he's like, yeah, that's because he got to do it in comics and then do it in novelization, then do the audiobook. He was really
That's how I was introduced to Batman comics.
Oh, really?
I'm working on it. So today will be the day.
All right, cool. Well, hey, speaking of trying to avoid being fired, I have to go to this laptop over here and do some day job stuff. So I want to thank everyone for hanging out in the comments. Always good to see that crowd there. Ryan, thank you very much for coming out, sir.
Thank you.
And appreciate you filling us in on Kindle Vella. I'll be checking that out. Walt, great luck with your novel release in 12 days. That is awesome news.
Yeah, my hashtag on all of my Hunter's Moon stuff is hashtag please don't suck. By Walt pointing out that Raiders is 40 years old and wondering if he sets his session up to it. Didn't matter what the players did. The Nazis died anyway. It was weird. You can go on to Old School D&D on YouTube and check out the episode. It's from Veterans Day last year. So
we should mention Old School D&D Twitch channel. We're going to be playing Shadow of the Demon Lord on Monday.
Part 2.
I swear I'll make it this time. Sorry. That was totally my fault. Yeah.
We don't judge. But I got to get my orc on.
You got to get your orc on. Yeah, you're a central character there with your female orc. So
no, it's a dude.
I thought you were a lady.
Yeah, apparently, this is an ongoing problem in my life.
All right. Gotta go. Thanks everyone
John.
for checking us out. We will catch you next time. Hopefully next week, same time when Writers Chat. So take care, everybody.
Thank you.